No one seems more intent on bringing attention to the fact that Donald Trump is in cognitive and physical decline than Donald Trump himself. It seems like every day he is pointing to his cankles, showing off his bruises, slurring his words, and forgetting the proclamations he's made during his presidency, giving us more evidence that something is very wrong with Donald Trump. And now, he's just come out and said it to his aide, sharing his fatal self-diagnosis that has even the closest advisors to Donald Trump completely stunned. And it is what we are going to get into. But they are not the only ones who are stunned. Because I want to start with Donald Trump's own doctors in the White House, humiliated by what he's leaking, what he's forgetting, and what he's saying, because the medical issues, they've only gotten worse. Trump humiliates White House doctors over his secret scan. Worst effing thing. Donald Trump lashed out at White House doctors who made the president undergo a secret medical scan. During an interview in the Oval Office with New York Magazine, the 79-year-old was pressed about an MRI that Trump let slip he had in October of 2025. An examination in the White House originally kept under wraps. It was the worst effing thing I ever did, and I blame them, Trump said, pointing at his physician and the president's former medical advisor. Can you explain why you asked me that? Trump added, shaking his head. Stupidest thing I've ever done. Jones, his physician, explained that he suggested Trump undergo another medical scan while the president was scheduled to attend his second of what is meant to be a once-a-year physical at Walter Reed. While he was there, I asked him if he would complete some additional physical things that we're planning on doing annually. And he was like, okay, we will work it in for time schedules, Jones said, adding that the procedure was not actually an MRI, which can detect issues such as brain abnormalities or tumors. We did a computerized tomography exam of his chest and his abdomen, Jones said. It's an MRI-like. Trump added that nothing specific prompted him to get the scan. It's because the machine was sitting there. I'm sitting right next to it. Trump caused confusion last October when he blurted out that he had undergone an MRI during his second physical of the year, but could not specify which part of the body had been examined. The results of the physical provided by Barbella did not indicate that Trump had undergone an MRI, and only noted that he had received advanced imaging screening without providing further detail. Months later, Trump told the Wall Street Journal that he didn't undergo an MRI scan at all. It wasn't an MRI, Trump said. It was less than that. It was a scan. Barbella confirmed that Trump had actually had a CT scan in order to rule out any cardiovascular issues. Barbella said Trump's doctors initially told the president that he may have an MRI or a CT scan. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt explained to the Journal that the White House would often refer to a CT scan as an advanced imaging. There was no evidence of narrowing of any blood vessels, Barbara told the New York Magazine, and no abnormalities of the heart. Jones added, the reason for the imaging as routine, as we stated, is that any patient his age could have things, and we ruled them out. The story should be about the fact that the results were perfect. They did not demonstrate any problems. Trump's fury over the scan was part of a lengthy feature detailing the president's various health issues, many of which have been heavily documented by the Daily Beast. These include the frequent bruises, of course, his cankles, and all the other issues that we have seen from Donald Trump in public. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. I don't trust that shit. Donald Trump's doctor jumping in to say, well, what reporters should really be focused on. Donald Trump's doctor trying to manage the press is not a sign that they are a completely non-partisan actor. It seems like this was set up, and especially because this is what Donald Trump had to say about that report, of course, before we get in what he told his advisors that shocked them even further about his health.
I worked this day from early in the morning till late in the evening, but we don't give out a full schedule. It's like who the hell wants to give out a schedule to these people? But it's all work. And this, in particular, this day was brutal. I never got to leave the seat. You couldn't do anything. It was just one after another after another. And this went on from early in the morning till late in the evening. And my people gave out a report. He had lunch. They show a report, lunch with somebody. and they did a story. Donald Trump is slowing down. He only had lunch. And then he went back up, and they said, that's malfeasance, whoever did, right? No, it's terrible. I was actually more angry with my people than I was with the New York Times.
So Donald Trump hated that New York Times report, and it's been nagging at him. He's been furious that they were talking about the fact that he's collapsing. He screamed at his doctor over it in the Oval Office that he was furious with the scan. He didn't like it. I don't know why everyone's talking about this. And then, his physician is present during an interview, in which he brings up that the press should be focusing on other things than Donald Trump's health cause he's so healthy. That's a little sketchy to me. That's more than a little sketchy. Especially in the news in the light of this report right here. Trump 79 freaked out allies with prediction about when he'll die. Donald Trump stunned members of his inner circle by calmly predicting when his own body would be lying in state. According to a new report, the 79-year-old president reportedly made the comment at Mar-a-Lago as television screens showed Jimmy Carter's casket at the U.S. Capitol, telling the room, you know, within 10 years, that'll be me. The remark, attributed to a person familiar with his comments, appears in a sprawling New York Magazine profile, The Superhuman President, about the president's health and psyche. One senior White House official told New York Magazine that the specter of death sometimes manifests in the 2028 conversation describing AIDS, gaming out whether the president will be willing or able to mount yet another run when he will be in his early 80s. At the same time, Trump has leaned into the idea that clinging to the presidency is what keeps him alive inside Trump's circle. The result is a strange dual reality of a president who talks about death legacy and what he will leave behind. From a $40 million East Wing ballroom that we should tear down to the Arc de Trump he once erected across the Lincoln Memorial, while still casting himself as a superhuman figure who can outwork younger rivals and defy time. As one senior official told New York Magazine, succession talk is as much about letting Trump live forever through his chosen heirs as it is about acknowledging that he will not. The Daily Beast has contacted the White House for comment. So Donald Trump looks at a president who passed away and thinks that death is coming up on him. Awesome. Ha ha ha. That's great. I'm glad that that's what he's thinking about. But this is what I've said since the beginning of Donald Trump's presidency largely. That a lot of what is coloring his decision-making is this kind of, well, it's all fleeting. I need to take advantage of it. You know, burn the bridges, burn the boats, let's go all out. I don't really care mentality. And it's also taken shape in Donald Trump's advisor. It's why this is no surprise that he shared with his top-level White House officials that he feels this way, that he's thinking about his death, that he sees it very soon. Because they are acting much like Trump, trying to take advantage of every last moment in the White House and trying to take advantage of a man who is so demented that they can take advantage of him. All right? Stephen Miller is running things in the White House because Donald Trump has no idea what's going on. And he's made that clear many times, forgetting about the presidential proclamations he made. When he talked about the tariff checks that would be going out, forgot about those. When he talked about the Doge dividend or the Doge checks that would be going out, he forgot about those. So Donald Trump makes sweeping proclamations, probably at the behest of Stephen Miller or Scott Benson or Elon Musk, and then he forgets, because he doesn't really know what's going on. So these people are taking advantage of him. Not that I'm saying that in some boohoo Trump way, but they also understand they only have so much time left. And as they grow more and more politically unpopular by the day, and I'm looking right at you, Stephen Miller, when I say this, considering ICE has never been more unpopular and Carolyn Levitt, of all people, refused to defend you today. Yeah, I see where this thing is going. It is going to a very dark place, and which Donald Trump is both trying to cling to power because he thinks it'll keep him alive, like the article said, or trying to use up every second of every day to inflict maximum pain on his enemies and make as much money off the presidency as possible. And that needs to be reined in. But if we are going to look at the positive side of this, which I think we should as much as we can, the man knows he's dying, and isn't that great? We're a couple Big Macs away, people. All right? We're a couple of fish fillets. We're a couple of Diet Cokes away. It's It's in sight. And I know some people might say, hey, that's a little dark. I say, no, I am going to enjoy it. He is falling apart. I am going to revel in it because Donald Trump knows. He knows that he is falling apart. He knows that he appears weak, especially in a moment when the issue that launched his political campaign, that launched his political career, I guess racism generally, and bigotry. But fear-mongering around immigration no longer works for Donald Trump. His last cudgel, the crutch he has always used, and the final card that he plays. He can't anymore. It's not working even on Fox. Jessica Tarloff is shutting down all of the lies and spin that MAGA is trying to tell after 2 Americans have been killed in Minneapolis.
Stephen Miller saying an assassin tried to murder federal agents, and this is your response. And J.D. Vance retweeting it says something about where this administration is and how they're considering it before and after the murder of Alex Preddy. And this will go down in history as a turning point for this. Greg Bovino wouldn't be leaving tomorrow if an innocent person wasn't killed. And the double standards that are being employed for how you have to behave versus how these agents have to behave is mind-boggling to me. Kyle Rittenhouse was a conservative hero, right, for walking into a protest, actually brandishing a weapon. But this guy who had a legal permit to carry and already had his gun removed, to some people, I guess, is some sort of instigator when he was actually going to help a woman who had been pushed down and tear-gassed by ICE. We have the right to protest. That should be upheld and respected.
The spin is not working. It's not landing. It's not believable. People aren't buying it. And so Donald Trump, as weak as he is, has only gotten weaker physically, mentally, politically. And the members of his administration are telling people that Donald Trump thinks he's gonna die, that he's gonna kick the bucket. And he's pissed at his doctors, and they're trying to make him feel better about himself by telling the press that they need to give little Donnie nicer coverage. That's what's happening. They're telling members of the media that they need to give Donald Trump better coverage. Doctors, you don't think that those people are kind of working for one guy? They're not medical professionals anymore. They're PR professionals. If you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let him silence you. And if you don't want to be silenced on another platform, you can go and follow me on Instagram at JD Cottarella. And until next time, I'll see you soon.